Hey, I've organized all my playlists on this channel so that you're able to easily find different types of shoes, different brands of shoes, as well as finding all my shoe battles, worth the price shoe reviews, etc., all in one place. Enjoy. Welcome back. It's Shoe Shine Sunday, and today we're going to start the process of bringing out the shine on some hatch grain and Utah cap shoes. We're going to start by conditioning them. And so I brought out the Colonil 1909, which I originally bought to try on shell cordovan, but didn't really want to, didn't really like that as very much. Now this has a very interesting smell to it. It's not really, it's more of a citrus smell, but it's not really like lemons or some, or something that's necessarily visible or distinguishable, I guess is the best way to word. So we're going to start with these. These are an Ascot Con, which is lasted by Vass. I've got some very large shoe trees in these. I'm trying to stretch them out a little bit. So, I had them in the rain the last time I wore them. And so I want to make sure that I get some good conditioner on them to help them continue that transformation, hopefully into something that fits. And while we're also doing that, obviously I want to make sure that they're very healthy. It's not good for leather to dry out. So just something to keep in mind. Now, I'm always pretty liberal with the conditioners. I think the trick, especially with Colonil that I found in using it over the years, is to really let it dry. So you want to make sure that you put on a thin enough coat so that, and you got to make sure you get the tongue really well. And then, I also have a high shine on the toes that I usually maintain. And Colonil is one that will require some work afterwards to really rebuild that. But that's okay. I want to do that. And I've never used Colonil on the grains before. You notice I'm using my hands. One of the things that is really important when conditioning is to actually feel the leather absorb. So if you use a cloth or something like that, you can't necessarily tell when you're done. And that's, to me, that's a pretty big difference. So this is not like watering plants where you just water until you can't water anymore. You just got to feel. You've got to water, you've got to condition them, and you've got to feel when the leather feels just a little bit supple, and just takes it the perfect way. So now each of the conditioners feels a little different in your hand, right? So like a Venetian shoe cream versus a Saphir Renovateur have a different thickness than each other. So that is different. This is actually kind of like a gel. So it's different as well. Although it comes across really liquidy once you break the gel onto the leather. So here, I've got the gel here. When I put it here, once I start moving it around, it becomes very liquid. So you just gotta really rub it in and try to make sure that this is on video. It's really easy for me to do this right below the video level, and that really doesn't do you any good. So trying to make sure that I get that for you here. Now, I know a lot of us forget to do the linings. Right? The linings are still leather, so the conditioner does not hurt them. And that's something that I know a lot of us forget to do. So I don't necessarily do I'm not going to take the trees out. Certainly not right now with these because I'm stretching them. But that is an area that you should also remember to do at least, once a year to make sure that the insides don't dry out, because, the insides dry out and you're going to be buying new shoes probably. So, fixing cracks in the lining is not inexpensive labor at a cobbler. So, and if you're like me, the cobblers know you well enough to laugh at you if you make a stupid mistake like that too. So that's always part of the fun. Although none of them would do it, they would laugh behind my back, and that I know that. So that's enough to make me not want to do it. Although several of them know me well enough to laugh right to my face. So here we are. Okay. Now the cool thing about these is that apron, and you want to make sure that that apron gets the conditioner it needs too. This is a very, very difficult piece to sew, probably one of the most difficult out there with this rail stitch and the skin stitch here. So just got to make sure that that is well moisturized as part of this. And I can feel here, it just feels a little bit dry. So again, I'm not even going to take very much on my hand. I'm just going to go over that. Okay. Now I've had these for about a year, and I'll say that the hatch grain on this particular pair, which was lasted by Vass, is much tighter than the other pairs that I have. The other pairs, you can feel the grain a little bit more. So what do I mean by that? Well, this is a pair, and this is an Enzo Bonifay. These are pretty new. So far, I've only had Renovateur on them. Okay, so these will accept this pretty well. And this is the second conditioning. Now, because I've conditioned them, recently in the last couple of weeks, I'm not putting a lot on them. Just going to put enough to really get them a little wet, and that's enough. So you get it in the seam there. You just use your fingernails, pick it up. So, they did a good job on this with the clicking, and Enzo Bonifay does the clicking by hand. But you can see that they were able to get this heel without seams, and then they have a seam here. So they basically had this piece here, but then this is all one piece of leather. So kind of cool stuff. Again, I want to make sure that I get the apron. That's the part that you really don't want to stretch. And I did a good job already with the thing. So hatch grain, take a look at that pattern, right? And then take a look at this pattern here. You can just see that it's a little bit stretched out more. Okay, so the Vass or Ascot stretched it just a little bit more. Now, so I've got that. Now I've got the other shoe here. Now again, just a little bit, and don't need to spend a lot of time on this because again, it's pretty new. Only worn them once, not even a whole day. Certainly not in the rain or anything. So, but I do want to get these broken in, and I want them to be well conditioned, and then I want to put some polish on them, kind of get them going. Now I'm going to switch over now to a pair that I haven't really done much with in about 4 wears. This is Lufthansa, and this is in Utah cap. So let's take a look. You can see the pattern is very similar to hatch grain, but it is a different level of the texture. So again, let's look at them side by side, and you can see how similar they are, but this has just a deeper texture to it. So that's going to mean it's a little bit harder to condition. Now, again, I've never used Colonil for Utah calf either. So this is first. And these, I mean, I've worn them 4 or 5 times since I've conditioned them or polished them last. I did a nice video on them when they were new, where I showed the full polish procedure, because I did, put a pretty good shine on that toe, which is not the easiest thing to do on a grain. So, but I'm willing to give that up now to get these right as rain, as they say, right? So this is just really, really nice It's a really nice piece of leather. Now with this, I am going to take the tree out, and I'm going to do the inside. I'm doing that because these are really nice veg tan leather insoles, and I have a problem where it rubs against my ankle. Okay? So since it rubs against my ankle, I'm going to do my best in order to soften it up to make that a little bit easier. So while I'm doing it, I'll go in. And what's nice about these is that they are fully leather lined all the way above the toe. Sometimes you'll find a lot of shoes, even high-end shoes, that the lining doesn't go all the way across the toes, and these do. So which is nice. So now Lip and Tongue, these are made in Spain, and the gentleman who owned Lip and Tongue actually own a shoe store called Skoaktiebolaget. I think it's in Sweden, and really been happy with them. I bought a pair of Palo Scaforas from them, as well as these, and excellent service. They've been really, really good to work with. They sell a lot of these, and they sell a number of other brands, including some Foster & Sons and some St. Crispin's as well. But for those, I've always gone direct. So again, I'm just gonna pop this back in. It's not really hard to condition. It's more, to me, it's one of those things that you just have to remember to do, right? And that's the challenge for me is prioritizing this so that this is the other foot, or the other shoe, and the shoe's on the other foot. So there you go. You just gotta, make yourself take the time to do it, especially now during the pandemic. I think everybody has a different, slightly different or adjusted work life, unless you're a doctor or something like that, where you're just, even if you are going back to the office, you're not going as much, or if the dress codes may have changed, et cetera. So, as we're all adjusting and dealing and doing our things different, things like shoe care tend to take us a back seat, as they should, right? I mean, it's not as important as, making sure we're safe, but, it is a good thing to remind yourself that you should be taking the time to take care of your shoes. So I know many of the shoe collectors that I'm in groups with at the beginning of the pandemic, we all took care of our shoes really, really well because we had all this time on our hands. And now, I can't speak for anybody other than myself, but I started doing different things. And so now I need to kind of make sure that I get back to it. Otherwise, I'll fall behind. And I don't want that. So now you see I'm getting the tongue here. It got really wet on the other one, and here it's just not absorbing as fast. So I'm just going to put more on there. And you see it's starting to do a better job absorbing. You want it to absorb. If it just stays on the surface or it goes over the surface, then it's not conditioning, right? So I'm gonna make sure you just give it that opportunity to get in there. I'm gonna let these dry considerably, probably 3-4 hours before I do anything else to them. So, and then for the grains, for this week, I may just I may just brush them and not go the full pattern here. Now we're going to move back to hatch grain now. Okay, so I've got 2 hatch grains, 1 U-tuck half, 2 hatch grains, 1 U-tuck half. So now these are also Enzo Bonifay's. You can see this has a different patina on it, but same color. This is sienna, and just going to. And again, I got to make sure I stay within the camera. Sorry about that. Here, I'm actually going to just lower the camera a little bit. You guys can see my background mess a little bit, which that's fine. I'm not going to hold that against anybody. So we're going to see. Pinking tends to hold the conditioner. So you gotta make sure you get in there and get it spread around a little bit more. And just do with my fingers. And if it's really bad, I'll use a brush, but I don't think I need to here. Try to get in as close to the welt as you can. It's really important, you know, and I did this before I did this on camera, but shoes that I've gotten a lot of outside wear, I brush. I have a cleaning brush that I do before I even get to this stage, and that makes sure that these the uppers are clean before you condition them, and the welts have the dirt removed from them as well, because the welts last a lot longer if they get a little bit of conditioner because they're leather, right? So that's important as well. All right, so here we go. Again, the grain, to rub it in, I'm using what I would consider medium pressure. I don't have lasted trees on this. These are just, you know, Amazon trees. I didn't pop the extra 150 bucks or 200 bucks or whatever it was for the Enzo trees. So that's something that I will obviously have to do in the future as part of my collection strategy. But for now, you know, I got to be careful. And you can see I got into the brogue hole there. It's in the brogue holes. It's going to be harder to get out without a brush. So never far away. Good old-fashioned horsehair brush. There you go. Okay. So that is these. Just gonna move these around just a little bit, make it easier to put them in. Okay. So now I'm going to move on to my newest pair. These are my St. Crispins. Okay. And again, they're you know, they're new. They've had just a basic round of Saphir. I did a little bit of actually I did pure polish on these, so not a lot, but it's been a week, so it's not going to hurt to put a little bit more on. I'm not going to put a lot on because I know that they're new. And again, I'm going to fully let them dry. But I'm not going to mess with the lining on these at all. Now this type of knot pattern picks up this the conditioner really, really well. And so you got to kind of clean it out there. But it also does that when you're polishing, so you got to be pretty careful with it. So I'm going to do that with the brush. And just go around the welt. And there we are. Right. You can see the contrast stitch there. These are just gorgeous shoes. I'm very happy with these. And again, clean brush, you know, making sure, you know, never hurts to state the obvious in shoe care, right? Because, you know, you don't want to put wax back on the shoes as you're, you know, cleaning them off. Now, St. Crispins are different in the way they design the soles. This isn't a fiddleback waist, but it is a very, very sturdy waist. And they actually form it more in the design so that it provides the same level of support or even better support than a fiddleback does. So very excited about these shoes. I'm very excited about getting my next pair. I'm looking at a pair of split toes for what's next. So definitely something to do. Getting into some of the higher end brands, though, is not for the faint of heart. You know, you have to put up a lot of money and then you got to wait, you know, a good number of weeks. What is nice about St. Crispins is that you're talking about 6 to 8 weeks instead of 12 to 15. A lot of the other hand welted shoes that I've ordered have been significantly longer, and there's even been delays because Halloween is difficult for them to get to Asia, things like that. So there's things that that impact everything. And actually, that may be less on Halloween and more on the U.S. Postal Service. I had an incident where I sold a pair of shoes, and it took them nearly 2 months to get 80 miles to the big airport in order to go overseas. And I probably called the poor people at the post office more often than they wanted, but the person who bought the shoes from me was looking for them, as he rightly should, and just want to make sure that these things don't just linger. So something to definitely cut the manufacturers a break on in terms of time when there's a lot of things outside their control, but not something that any of us necessarily like having to deal with. I can't speak for anybody but myself, but waiting, it's not my forte. All right, so here are nice and crisp ends. Again, that hatch grain pattern, not tight, and just absolutely gorgeous. So now we go to Utah. This is going to be George. And these are so dark brown, they're almost black. And they like they have almost black linings too. It's very this is probably the darkest brown shoe that I have. And I thought when I had my dark brown shell cordovan that was the darkest brown I was ever going to see. But this is pretty darn dark, but very nice. And I believe it'll lighten over time. So, but it's hard, right? You get the saddle hatch grain, you get the espresso hatch grain. There's only so many colors of coffee or dark brown, right? But there are a number of them out there, and they and I have a yellow light over me, so sometimes the color may be a little misleading. So I always have to keep that in mind as well. So I like to take my pictures for my Instagram out in the sun, so you don't get any weird tinting from my lighting. I bought some LED lights that I was going to use in the basement, and decided that I didn't want to use them in the basement. And you spend $15 on a light bulb, and you want to use it, not just leave it in a box. So I put them up in my office when I needed new bulbs in here. So here we go. Now, take a look at this around the apron. See, I'm just using my fingernails, pulling it up, and then you have that. You can really see the Utah calf. I will say that this Utah calf, even compared to my chukka boots, is super, super soft. And this is my favorite pair of Utah. I actually ordered a pair of Utah calf hand welted from Meermin to give them a try to see what their Utah calf is like, because I expect it to be kind of closer to this, and excited to see what that turns out to. So this is the conditioning phase of my super grain week, and I'm gonna brush these up and see whether or not they need something else. But I'm gonna post this video because I know a lot of folks have asked for just ideas on shoe care and what to do for these particular types of leather for hatch grain and for Utah calf. And this may in fact be enough, but interested in your comments and ideas and what you think is necessary. So thanks much.